Hey guys, it's Czar back here with another video. And in this video, I want to talk to you guys about how to increase your mental clarity. A lot of us don't have the sense of being able to think, make decisions, focus for a certain period of time, read, write, right? These things we have trouble doing because we are always scatterbrained, right? We can't, just focus our attention, be able to think about something and go on with it, right? We're always, just observe your thoughts for a little while. You'll notice that it's like a roller coaster. You're always going to the next thing, and it's continuously, like, it's insane. That's overthinking essentially, right? Basic, down to the wire. That's basically what it is. But before I talk to you guys about 3 ways that I think can increase your mental clarity, I want to make a disclaimer. These 3 things are not an act of doing something besides the last one, actually. The third one is. The first 2 are actually you refraining from doing things that 99% of the population is doing. And you're not going to refrain fully, so don't worry about that. But you're going to have to understand that what I'm about to tell you is very important to your mental well-being and being able to think and do stuff, right? Because, like I said, a lot of, look at the population, right? Kids can't focus, most adults are scatterbrained, right? And it's fucking us up because if you can't focus, if you can't think right, then it's going to be hard for you to do a lot of things that you want to accomplish. So I want to get that out of the way. Now, we're going to go into the first thing, fasting. Now, not 24 hours, not prolonged fasting, but if you can just skip breakfast, like, for instance, let's say your last meal the night before was at 8 o'clock, and now let's say you wake up at 6 or 7, doesn't matter, right? Let's say you typically have breakfast around 8. Instead of eating breakfast around 8, you would go till 10 o'clock, have like a mid-morning meal, I guess, right? Now that's just to start off, right? Because a lot of people find it hard to adjust to not eating, 5 meals a day, right? It's out of this world if you don't eat 5 meals a day. But you can do 16 hours, which, like I said, if you went to bed at 8, if your last meal was at 8 the night before, you would refrain from eating until 12 o'clock in the afternoon the next day. So that I've noticed, right? See, the things I'm talking about are what's helped me. And I think it's important. There's a saying. They say, if you know yourself, you know others. So by me knowing that the things I'm about to talk about have helped me, I think they can help you. So listen, test them out. If they don't work, don't do them, but try a couple of them. So anyways, just I like going on tangents. Back to the first thing, fasting. Fasting has helped me because I noticed that for years and years and years, I've always had a high carb breakfast. I've always had high carb breakfast. Like, back when I ate junk food, I would eat like toaster waffles. I would even drink Mountain Dew in the morning, guys. You don't know how bad it was back in the day. I'd have toast a lot, right? And even like sort of recently, I've had oatmeal, fruit, right? These are high carbs, right? This stuff, it raises your insulin, and when, carbs, they make you so, like carbs, they're the main source of energy, so they make you like jittery. It's like sugar basically, so you're always like fuck, like, like you guys know what it's like to be like have that sugar rush. Carbs are similar. They're not as bad as drinking soda straight. Like obviously eating oatmeal isn't as bad as drinking a Mountain Dew or a Coca-Cola. But just carbs in the morning. If you're gonna eat breakfast, you know what? If you don't want to fast, if you're gonna eat breakfast, eat fat, because fat digests slower and it's not a straight rush into your bloodstream. It digests slower into your bloodstream. And on top of all of that, food takes energy away from your, just, it takes energy to digest food. So if you think about your energy level from a scale of 1 to 10, right? Think about it this way. And let's say 10 is the highest, right? If you're digesting food, now you're down to an 8, maybe a 7.5, like an 8, 7.5, 8. So that is a huge detriment. It doesn't look like a huge detriment, but like I said, with all of these little things, it adds up. So try fasting in the morning to lunchtime if you can handle it. Or if you don't want to do that, eat a high-fat breakfast. Eggs, bacon, avocados. Not, people don't want to eat avocados in the morning, but you get the gist. Bacon and eggs is fine. So that's number one. Try to just limit the carbs and fast if you can, because fasting puts you into that state of ketosis. Not immediately, but it does later. But actually, when you do fast in the morning, you have a boost of adrenaline. So adrenaline, if you take it back to the old days of us being in the woods as cavemen, if you were to get attacked by something or something invaded your territory, your body produced adrenaline. So that made you kind of like hyper aware and like very alert. So again, being alert is good when you're trying to increase your mental clarity, because you're more aware of your surroundings. You can focus on stuff, right? So that's good. So that concludes number one. Number two, refrain, not fully, but refrain from media and information intake. Now, this goes for almost everyone, because I don't know anyone besides maybe some older folks that don't use their phone a lot. Like I use my phone a lot. I'm currently working and I'm not using it as much. But guys, when you're always scrolling through social media, you're training your mind to not be able to focus on one thing. When you're constantly switching apps, you're constantly scrolling, you're constantly checking texts, right? You're training your brain to be like, okay, we can focus for a total time of 15 seconds, and then after 15 we can't anymore, because the person who is in charge of our brain doesn't fucking want to focus on concentrating. It doesn't want to refrain from not being able to focus, right? If that kind of makes sense. It's kind of hard for me to depict this, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Limit the social media. And if you're going to go on it, don't just scroll all day, man. Don't fucking do that. A lot, like I see people, they just sit there and scroll mindlessly. Don't do that. I do it myself here and there, and I'm like I said, I'm working on it. And then your information intake is basically like how much you consume, like news, sports, YouTube, right? Even YouTube, it depends, right? YouTube can be good or bad depending on what you watch, but even if you're watching good content on YouTube, it still kind of fucks your brain up when you just watch video after video after video after video. Because now I notice, like, let's say for instance me, I notice when I watch YouTube a lot, like if I watch it for an hour and a half or 2 hours, the people's voices start to be in my head. And that kind of like takes away from my thoughts that come from my higher self, because now my higher self, like the thoughts that God, the universe wants to put through me, is blocked off by someone else's thoughts that are external, that are not a part of what God wants to do through me. So when you have like all these people and all these fucking ideas in your head, it screws up your mental clarity, because you're always thinking about someone else, or just you can't stay centered when you always have and especially music too. I notice if I listen to music, like a catchy song early in the day, I have that shit in my head for the remainder of the day, over and over and over again, nonstop. And dude, like I don't want that. I don't want to have the same song over. Like I want to hear the song once, but I don't want it to be stuck in my head for fucking 24 hours. That's just, I don't want, or 16, because you sleep for 8 hours. And a lot of us, we don't even realize we have that shit playing in our head. A lot of us don't even realize the kind of thoughts that pop up. We just assume that our thoughts are kind of like what we observe and shit. I mean, they are, but a lot of our thoughts are not coming from a true, authentic place. They're coming from external sources and stuff that is not helping us. Mostly, right? With few exceptions. But again, so that kind of combines into one thing. Limit your information and media intake. You don't have to completely get rid of it, but maybe 45 minutes a day, right? Maybe at the end of your day, or maybe you split it up into a few times a day. You should be focused on improving. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you should be, hanging out with people, doing shit that's going to help you, right? Don't fucking just sit on there all day, because, again, you're just bombarding your mind. You're not, and most of us don't do what the stuff tells you to do on YouTube. I fall victim to that. So that's number 2. Limit your media and information intake. And number 3, you want to drink a lot of water. Again, I keep repeating myself. I sound like a broken record, but I think it's important to tell you guys this. 90% of people are walking around dehydrated, and it's fucking destroying you. Destroying you. Not like terribly, but it's, like I said, it's on a scale of 1 to 10. If you're, let's say now, if you're doing the first 2 things, you're at like a 5. Now you're down to a 3 because you're not drinking enough water. They did a study. I'll put the link in the description if I remember. They said that just a little bit of dehydration in your body can cause you a lack of cognitive functions, right? Like your grammatical reading, mental math, and just like attention, right? I think it was those 3. So attention and reading and shit, right? Like, you guys want to be able to do this stuff because that's what we do. If you're a student like me, you have to read, you have to do mental math and shit. And if you're anyone, you need to be able to focus your attention on something. So drink at least a gallon of water a day. It sounds like it's a lot, but it's really easy. Just fucking drink just buy a water bottle, drink water bottles, whatever the fuck you want to do. It doesn't matter. And just drink a gallon a day. This right here, I'd say a gallon of water is probably like 4 to 5 of these. I'm not too sure, but you get the gist. So I hope these 3 things, man. I really hope that if you can do them, one of them is actually not doing, but if you can do these 3 things, I guarantee you that you will see results. Not right away, but in time. In time, you will see results. And I think it's important I'm going to put another kind of idea out there. If your mind, and like you're always doing shit that's not true to yourself, if you're always looking at other shit, if you're always watching the news, if you're always eating and you're always like consuming, I think it's a consumer. We're all consumers in this modern world. Consumerism is easily the number 1 epidemic. Maybe not, but it's up there. We're always consuming. So I think it's important for us to limit our consumption. They say, like everyone says, balance is key, right? And in this case, limiting your consumption is key, right? You don't have to completely refrain from everything, because, I mean, that's hard to do. Even myself, I don't think I could do that right now. It'd take me a while to adjust. And another thing I want to say is, if you're used to eating a lot and you're used to being on your phone a lot, it's inevitable that you will experience withdrawals. And these withdrawals, depending on how you're addicted, can be very extreme. They can be very hard to deal with. So if, like I said, you've been on your phone a lot, you've been eating all the time, your body's like it's so like just comfortable with that sort of routine. So for you to break it, it's like, wow, it's kind of a shock to your nervous system because it doesn't know any other way. So I'd say, depending on if you have a minor, or I'd say in the middle, somewhat addiction to eating food and always consuming, it might take you 2 days to somewhat get over it, but depending on, like, if you're really extreme, it might take you a week. It might take you 2 weeks. I think 2 weeks is the max. If you're super addicted to this stuff, I think 2 weeks is the max. After 2 weeks, it gets a little bit easier, right? And even after like maybe 2 or 3 days, it might get a little bit easier. Again, depending on how addicted you are. So this wraps up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. I highly appreciate it. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe, and also hit the there's a little notification bell next to the subscribe button. Make sure to hit that, because when you do hit that button, you get notified when I upload, so you can come and tune in. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, if you want to know more, if you want to give me ideas to, if you have questions or whatever, leave me something down below and I'll do my best to respond. That's it, guys. I will see you soon. Peace.